ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Let us offer our salutations to Lord Krishna, the embodiment of bliss, who came to establish dharma and punish the wicked. Let us pray to him to lead us from unreal to real, to lead us from darkness and ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We are studying chapter 8, the yoga of imperishable Brahman. Sri Krishna is really showing us all the way to reach him. He is pointing out clearly what the methods we should adopt and how we should prepare ourselves to reach him. In this unique incarnation, Sri Krishna disclosed his true personality. He is not like any mortal being. Though he appeared as human, but he clearly revealed that he is none other than Supreme Brahman. Such is the uniqueness of Sri Krishna's incarnation. And though all around people saw him, moved with him, talked with him, yet they could not really understand the divine glory of Lord Krishna. For example, Kauravas, let alone understanding. Duryodhana even wanted to tie him down in the court. So, what does it show? It means the mind is in turbid state. When the mind is hopeless, tainted by, full of worldliness, tainted by impurities, you cannot recognize the glory of God. In fact, they don't like the idea of spirituality and so on. Those who are steeped in worldliness, just like the flies sitting on the excreta, it always wants to smell the excreta. Same way, the worldly people always want that smell, the bad smell of worldliness. But that's the greatest problem. If you are really aspiring for happiness, you must get out of the environment unconditionally, without any hesitation, without any compromise. Then the ways are open, clear. Otherwise, even if the ways are open to you, you are not able to see them in proper way because of the dirt covering your mind. And that dirt is worldliness, worldly ways of calculation. All these come under that category. But Sri Krishna has shown the path to everyone, whoever wants to enter into the realm of spirituality, they should follow this method. Just like mother leading the child Sri Krishna is leading all the spiritual seekers in the spiritual path. Verse number 11, Yadaksharam Vedavido Vadanti Vishanti Yadyatayo Vitaraga Yadaksharam Vedavido Vadanti Vishanti Yadyatayo Vitaraga Yadichanto Brahmacharyan Charanti Tatte Padam Sangrahena Pravakshiye. Sri Krishna is revealing everything to Arjuna. He is pouring himself to him. Because Arjuna was a perfect disciple, ready to receive the knowledge, spiritual knowledge. And Sri Krishna takes the responsibility to clear his mind of all doubts once and for all. The man was utterly in a desperate condition, almost suicidal. How Sri Krishna raised him from almost death and showed him the high spiritual path. That path can be pursued by anybody in this world, provided they follow their duties properly. First of all, you must have the clear concept of duty, and then the zeal to perform properly. So many factors are there. Simply doing a job will not be called as a karma yoga. With what attitude, with what dedication and love you are performing, that determines whether it can be transformed to yoga or simply roga. Roga means if a person is led towards the worldliness, it is disease. That's why in all of the Sanskrit compositions we see bhavaroga. This worldliness is compared to a disease. It is a disease. You are duped. That's the problem we are facing. But if you are really serious about getting out of this worldliness, if you want to cure this disease of worldliness, there is no other way but to follow the teachings of Sri Krishna given in Bhagavad Gita. So he is telling Arjuna, I shall briefly describe to you that state which the knows through the Veda called the imperishable, and into which those who are self-controlled and free from attachment enter, and desiring which they lead a life of continence. So, people who want to reach that highest state of bliss and peace, that which is permanent, everlasting. Even if the whole creation dissolves, that remains. That is Brahman. So if a person attains that state, then he is permanently established in peace and bliss. For such a person, the spiritual journey is over. His playing in this world is finished completely. No more coming back to this world and play this hide and seek game. No confusion. Everything will be clear. But Shri Krishna says that state can be reached only when a person is self-controlled. Do we have control over our senses? We go according to the senses. Not that senses want to behave as we want. We dance to the tune of the senses. They pull you hither and thither, make you restless. So, one should be self-controlled. The chief control is controlling the mind. Mind is a master of all the senses. So hold down the reins of that mind properly. That's the first condition. Second thing is free from attachment. Vitaragaha. Because once you are attached, that portion of the mind is cut out. So 100% mind is not towards spirituality. Some portion of the mind is cut towards the world. That is, mind is wounded. As long as the wound is there, you will not have peace of mind. That wound was caused by you, by indulging in worthless, reckless worldliness. So, attachment to things of the world, attachment to wealth, money, property, possessions, all sorts of things. Mind is stuck up there. It doesn't want to think of God. It doesn't want to think of God. So, Shri Krishna says, Vitaraga, it will be free from all those attachments. And Brahmacharyan charanti, practicing or controlling continence. The idea is, lot of our energy is wasted because of this not practicing continence. So what Shri Krishna says is, never lose energy. Use it for practicing meditation, concentration, spiritual activities, and so on. For coming to spirituality, for doing spiritual exercises, lot of energy is required. It is like swimming against the current. You must have proper strength in your shoulders, in your legs, otherwise you will be drowned. That strength is provided by practice of continence. Sri Ramakrishna says, with respect to householders, well, householders also have a way, have a controlled way of enjoyment. That is limited continence. Anyway, Brahmacharyan charanti. It also means mind is totally focused on Brahman, on the divine. If you are a worshipper of a form of God, any divine form, mind should be focused on it. And you must really aspire for it. So, Shri Krishna is telling, I am briefly explaining to you, describing to you that state by which the spiritual seekers want to reach. Reaching that state, they are perfect peace and bliss. Sarvadvarani samyamya मनोहृदि निरुध्य च मूर्ध्या धायात्मनः प्राणमास्थितो योगधारणा ओम इत्येकाक्षरं ब्रह्म व्याहरन् माम् अनुस्मरन् यप्रयाति त्यजन् देहं स याति परमां गतिम्. Controlling all the senses. Again and again Shri Krishna says. Because again and again we make that mistake of letting loose the mind. Because that innate desires are there for the things of the world. So naturally you succumb to them. Shri Krishna says, controlling all the senses, ear, sense, ear, eyes, mouth, everything should be controlled. Then confining the mind in the heart. That is, mind should be indrawn. But what we see, mind is always externalized. Mind is always looking something outside. It doesn't see inside at all. So, the yogi should confine the mind in the heart. Then, drawing the prana, the vital force, into the head, he must engage in the practice of concentration, at the same time uttering the name, uttering the syllable, monosyllable, Om, the Brahman. Om represents Brahman. Just Om. Then he says, Maam Anusmaran. How many times Shri Krishna has said that? Still we are foolish. He says, meditate on me. Constantly remember me. Anusmaran. If you do all these things, as described now, when he leaves the body, he attains the supreme goal. So everything is given in this verse. This one verse is enough for your spiritual practice. All 18 chapters not required. Manasamyamya Vidragaha Brahmacharyam charanti Sarvadvarana samyamya Yogadharana Manohri niruddhyacha 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Yes, Lord. We know it, but you can't do it. That's the sad part of it. But we should not lose heart. How Shri Krishna raised the desperate mind of Arjuna is also raising our desperate mind from this morbid state into the highest state of spirituality. But what is most important is sincerity. Senses. It is said we have got 10 senses. 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 1 mind. 11 actually. So these senses are the gates of the body. 1 gate is enough. 11 gates to distract. 5 avenues of knowledge. 5 avenues of action. They are called 10 avenues. The senses of perception take in things from outside, whereas the senses of action let out things from inside. Thus, the senses came to be called as gateways. We keep doors to our houses also. We allow whatever are to be permitted. No pigs and buffaloes are allowed inside. But the sense gates have no restriction whatsoever. Anything may have access through them. That's what we are doing. That's why the senses have become loose. You have no control over the doors. Anything and everything comes in and spoils you. So, we should have control over the sense gates. That means you must see everything, not neglecting even one. That's what Shri Krishna meant. Then only it's possible to focus and meditate upon Om. For many people it's too difficult to meditate on the formless aspect of Om, formless aspect of Brahman. So God is so kind enough. He has given us infinite forms of gods and goddesses. Why He has given infinite forms? People sometimes say, why in Hinduism there are so many gods and goddesses? They don't have that simple understanding. So many gods and goddesses exist because of so many human beings. Variety, the beauty in variety, unity in diversity. Let anybody have any form of God. That's the meaning. Choose any form you want. What is wanted is, once you have chosen the path, don't distract this way, that way. Go straight on the path and reach the goal. So, God's forms are available only to help us to reach the goal, not to mislead us. Ananyachetaha satam yo masmarati ananyachetaha satam yo mam smarati nityashaha. Again, mam smarati nityashaha. How many times Shri Krishna says that? Mam anuspara, mam smarati nityashaha. Ananyachetaha Satatam yo mam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulava partha nityayuktasya yogina. Arjun, I am easily attainable by that ever steadfast yogi who constantly remembers me every day and thinks of none else. That's a practice. Once you know that there is a truth, you hold on to it. That steadfastness should be there. That's called unshaking devotion and dedication. Unshaking. No calculations there. The moment you calculate, you become worldly. No bargaining business when it comes to spirituality. If you want to be spiritual, be at it 100%. Struggle for it. Shri Krishna says, I am easily accessible to such a person. What he is telling is that one should constantly remember him. Constantly remember. Mam smarati nityashaha. Through whatever door the prana leaves the body, he will come to me only. One who does not forget me, one who does not forget me will not be forgotten by me too. Krishna says that. I am asking from him nothing else but his mind. One should dedicate his whole mind to the Lord. But what is happening is that a person has given his mind to something other than God. Some have given their mind to family, some to the children, some have given their mind to money, some give it for name, power, position. Thus, in some way or other, they give their mind. But when it comes to giving the mind to God, they feel it is not easy. Wherever the ship navigates, the mariner's compass always keeps showing the direction of north. Even so, in whatever manner body and senses function, the devotee's mind should be always with God. In order to earn God's love, we should offer all our love to Him. We should give some love towards the world and the rest to God. This kind of shopkeeping love would not work. Where Rama rules the mind, there cannot be desire. If the mind is occupied with desire, there Rama does not stay. A steadfast yogi should constantly remember God throughout his life. There is a famous sutra in the Patanjali Yoga. Patanjali Yoga Sutra is very famous. If you have not read, please read it. He says in Samadhipada, Sutra 14, Patanjali Maharshi says, Satu Dirghakala Nirantarya Satkara Sevito Dridabhumihi. Satu Dirghakala Nirantarya Satkara Sevito Dridabhumihi. That is, practice becomes well grounded when well attended to for a long time without break and in all earnestness. That's the meaning of this sutra. The first qualification for the practice is that it should be done for a long time. Unfortunately, we just want the result immediately. Suppose I ask you to repeat a mantra and tell you that you will become more peaceful and realize beautiful things within. You will go back, repeat it for 3 days, and then you will come back and tell me, I have repeated for 3 days but nothing happened. Maybe it is not a suitable mantra for me. Can you give me a different one? They do talk like this. See? So Patanjali says, for a long time. It doesn't say how long. And then it should be without break. People sometimes say, oh, I have been practicing yoga for the past 10 years, but I am still the same. How often? Oh, off and on. So it must be continuous practice also. Continuous practice. You must give attention. to spiritual practices. Utmost attention. And the last qualification, you must do it in all earnestness. That means with full attention, with the entire application of your mind, and with full faith in your achievement. Even when you want something or somebody on the worldly level, you will be after it day and night, is it not? You don't sleep, you don't even eat, you're always at it. If this quality is necessary to achieve even worldly success, how much more so for success in yoga? So let us not be like little kids who sow a seed today and dig it up tomorrow to see how much the root went down. So we need all these three qualities. 1, patience. 2, devotion. 3, faith. This reminds me of a small story which is said in our scriptures. And this story has come in Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna also. You know, you have heard of Narada Maharshi, very famous saint. He has got special privilege. He can go anywhere in the creation. He has got gate pass. Anywhere. All the 14 worlds he can go. Only Narada can go. How he got that is a different story. But his status is he can go to any plane, meet anybody and advise them accordingly. And he did so. He was doing selfless activity. One day, he was passing through a forest and saw a yoga student who had been meditating for so long that the ants had built anthill around his body. For such a long time, he was meditating there. The yogi looked at Narada. He recognized that he is a Devarshi. So immediately he asked him, "Sir, where are you going?" Narada Maharshi said, "I am going to abode of Vishnu. And I am going to abode of Kailas, abode of Shiva." "Well, could you please do something for me there?" "Yes, what can I do?" "Could you find out from the Lord how many more births I must meditate? I have been sitting here for quite a long time. So please, will you find out that for me?" "Sure," Narada said. Then he walked a few steps. Then he saw another man. This man was also doing spiritual practice, but in a different way. He was not sitting in Padmasana and doing pranayama and concentration, meditation, etc. But this devotee was continuously jumping, dancing, singing with joy. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Joyously he is doing that, joyously. Continuously he is doing. So, when he saw Narada, he also could recognize, "Oh Devarshi, where are you going? You are always traveling." "I am going to Vaikuntha." "Is it so? It's great. Could you please find out for how long I have to be here like this?" When will I get final liberation? Yes, surely I will get the reply for you. So after many years, Narada happened to the same route again and saw the first man. The yogi recognized Narada. Oh Narad, did you go to the abode of Vishnu? What did he say? Narada Maharshi replied, oh, I asked the Lord, but he said you have to take another 4 births. 4 times you have to be reborn to get liberation. Another 4 births? Haven't I waited long enough? He started shouting and lamenting. Narada went further and saw the second man was still dancing and singing. He also asked him, sir, did you get some news for me? Yes. Will you please tell me what is that? So Narada Maharshi pointed his finger and said, do you see that tree there? Yeah. Can you count the leaves on it? Sure. I have the patience to do it. Do you want me to count them right away? No. You can take your own time to count. But what has that got to do with my question? Narada said, well, the Lord Vishnu says you will have to take as many births as the number of leaves of the tree. Oh, is that all? So at least it's limited number then. Now I know where it ends. That's fine. I can quickly finish it off. Thank God he did not say the leaves of the entire forest. That means he was prepared. And he was joyously prepared. Because he knows the time is fixed now. Just then, a beautiful palanquin came down from Vaikuntha. And the driver said, sir, please come and sit inside. Lord Vishnu has sent for you. What? I am going to Vaikuntha now? Yes. But just now Narada said I have to take so many more births first. Yes, but it seems that you are ready and willing to do that. So why should you wait? Come on. Lord Vishnu was very gracious. And he asked, what about the other man? He is not even ready to wait for 4 more births. Let him wait and work more. This is not a mere story. You can easily see the truth behind it. If you are that patient, your mind is more settled, and what you do will be more perfect. If you are unsettled and anxious to get the result, you are already disturbed, nothing done with that disturbed mind will have quality. So, it is not only how long you practice, but with what patience, what earnestness, and what quality also. Everything is counted in spiritual practice, please note that. You may be thinking, nobody is watching, my Guru is not here, he is in the US Templeton, he is not seeing me. Don't think that way. God is ever watching. God is the Guru, Satchidananda Guru. We are just instruments, channels through which God's power runs through. He is watching us all the time, watching us graciously. And He gives corrections. Suppose we do wrong, He gives corrections. But He gives corrections in an invisible way. Invisible. You have to infer and correct yourself. That's the way it is. Let us stop for the time being. We shall continue next Tuesday, verse number 15. Mamupeti punajjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam prapnuvanti napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramangataha. Mamupeti punajjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. Having attained me, These great souls are no more subject to rebirth, which is about a pain and is transitory, for they have reached the highest perfection, that is liberation. We shall continue next Tuesday. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanurvardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Let us offer ourselves to Lord Krishna, the embodiment of bliss, who came to establish dharma and punish the wicked. Peace, peace, peace be to all.